narrative, which is what we're going to start discussing today, expository, which is what we've been doing, and then persuasive writing, which is what we're going to get to toward the end of the year. So these are really the three main types of writing. Narrative, of course, is to entertain. Expository, to inform. And persuasive, of course, is to persuade. Okay. So those are the three types of writing. So we've spent a good portion of time talking about expository writing. So when you get into middle school, high school, and especially college, I believe the number that gets tossed around is 80% of the hang on a second, I got muted.
We can hear you.
Oh, you can? Okay, it said that I was muted. Okay. Okay, so expository, 80% of what you do, especially in college, will be expository writing to inform. But narrative is to entertain, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So reading stories it's rich, it's entertaining. We get to explore all these different worlds for those of us out there in the universe who still read. But you can do so many different things. And writing a story, for those of you who have written young author stories or written stories in your previous classes, there's just so many possibilities. And so what I want to talk about today is sort of what the spine of a story. So sometimes it's overwhelming. So the problem that we have is that the problem with narrative writing is the number of choices. Okay, this is the problem that I want to take a look at today. So we have all of these things, all these ideas swimming in our head. Sometimes we wake up in the middle of the night with an idea. Sometimes we have dreams in the evening and we wake up and like wonder, why was I in that situation, or who was this character in my dream? So there's all these ideas swimming around in our head. The problem is when we sit down and we try to write those ideas and give those ideas shape, sometimes what comes out on the paper is not what we have in our head. So what I want to talk about today is just a very simple tool that we can use, that we use in, Mr. Mullen will talk about in reading, and I believe he may have already, and it's something that we've usually talked about at this point in this year, but it's a tool called Somebody Wanted But So. So Mr. Mullen will talk about it in terms of reading comprehension. So you read a story, if you can answer the somebody wanted but so of a story, then you have a basic understanding of the plot or what the story is about. Now, in writing, it serves a different function. In writing, it helps us keep the spine of our story straight. So it establishes a main character. It gives that main character a want or a desire, a goal, and then it establishes a problem and a solution. So this is what we're talking about here. So you want to start simple. You don't have to, in fact, the simpler the better, because when you just say, oh, well, I have this character and I'm gonna write this story. Well, at some point you might get a quarter, a third, halfway into the story, and then suddenly you're just staring at the screen, or your hand comes to a stop on you simply don't know where to go. So Somebody Wanted But So provides you a little bit of a roadmap for your story. So I know some families do this, which I think is kind of weird, but most families don't just get up, jump into a car with no idea of where they're going for some type of vacation. Usually It's, hey, it's the first week of summer break. We're going to go to San Diego for 4 days or 5 days. So this is what we're going to do. This is what time we're going to get up. This is when we're going to leave. This is what we're going to do when we're there. That's what the somebody wanted but so is for your story. It's the basic roadmap for what you're doing. So my question, I'm a why guy. Like anytime somebody asks me to do something, like I need to know the why. And it's not a matter of disrespect. It's not, you know, I'm not trying to challenge anybody. It's just, I need to know why I'm doing something. Because if there's a bigger picture, sometimes it helps me make connections and then I can better understand what I'm doing. And if I don't see the urgency of something, then if I'm being completely honest, I'm just not likely to do it. So why bother with a somebody wanted but so? Like, again, it provides the spine of your story. So it establishes your main character, the main character's goal, the problem of the story, and the solution. So that is a lot. Now, there is a basic character or a basic story arc. So we've talked about it. It kind of looks like a mountain, and there's rising action. Some of the things that Mr. Mullen has talked about in reading already is sort of as far as story structure is concerned. We have a main character. There's a series of escalating obstacles for that main character, which are referred to as rising action. And then we reach the climax of the story, which is the big moment of the story. It's the big battle. It's the confrontation between the protagonist and the antagonist. And then there's the denouement, which is French for falling action. And then the resolution of your story. So that's all a little more advanced. But the point that I'm trying to make here is the somebody wanted but so answers a lot of those questions in a very simple way. So what I want to do today is I want to have fun with let me see here. Okay. I want to have fun with something. So usually around this time of the year, I'm studying ancient Egypt in my class. So thanks to Mrs. Digby, I learned a little bit about this particular program called Pixton. And Pixton is pretty cool because you have all of these different basically making a comic book or a graphic novel. So this is my and of course so I want my story set in ancient Egypt. So let's have some fun here. We'll say Mr. Mullen, are you there? Is he there? He's probably doing laps right now, I bet.
Yes, I am.
Okay, cool. Give me a good Egyptian name, Mr. Mullen.
Safir.
Safir? Cool.
Ahmed.
Safir, I like it.
Okay.
Okay.
Cleopatra.
So, huh?
Cleopatra.
Oh, Safir. We'll go with Safir. I like that name. Cleopatra intimidates me. She was, for obvious reasons. Somebody Safir wanted. So now I need a goal. I need a goal here. What does Safir want? And then I need a problem and I need a solution. So now keep in mind, we are in ancient Egypt. So I'm going to go ahead and look in the chat. But what does my main character want? So let's try to come up. I'm going to take some suggestions here, but it could be You know, maybe he wants to escape. Maybe he wants to win something. Maybe, yeah, give my main character, Safir here, let's give him a want. What does he want? Okay. What does he want? So let's go. I'll be looking at the chat and then we'll come back to that. Ooh, escape slavery. Good. To find a bigger life outside of Egypt. Okay. I like the idea. I need something a little more concrete. The more specific it is. Okay. To escape slavery, that's one. By the way, there's a program on Showtime right now, Mr. Mullen, called The Good Lord Bird, about John Brown, and pretty deep into the series right now. It's actually, last night's episode was really, really good.
Sounds cool.
They tie in a lot of historical, like Harriet Tubman played a really big part in last night's episode, and Frederick Douglass. It's pretty cool. He wants to escape the king, find his brother's mummy. Ooh, okay. And being slavery. Okay, good. Freedom. All right. Peace. Wants a child. Okay, well, that's a different story. To be the king. Ooh. Cash, gold, money. Yeah. Okay, I feel that. Wants to be a god. Wow, okay. To find destruction. Okay. Well, we just need to be like, if he wanted to destroy something, we would need to know what that is, and more importantly, why. He wants to be better than his brother. He is super jelly. Find his family. Well, okay, these are good. These are good, good, good. Steal an ancient artifact. Cool, very Indiana Jones. Oh, really? Oh, interesting. Safir means ambassador in English. I have a, is that, yeah, okay, cool. I did not know that.
Hey, you know the thing that Safir really wants?
What's that?
Some baklava.
Yeah, oh, that's one of my
Actually,
favorites.
that's what Mr. Mullen wants.
I'm more of a savory guy, but I'll, you know.
I make homemade baklava. When we get back to school, I'll bring some.
A wealthy tomb to pass through the afterlife. Okay. To be trending. Oh, that could be fun.
Oh my
That could
gosh, these are some great answers.
be, yeah, he wants a lot of luck because nobody respects him.
Ooh.
Interesting. Okay. All right. I'm gonna keep this. These are great. But I'm gonna have to choose one. Mr. Mullen, why don't you choose the wanted, and then I'll have somebody else choose the but or the so. But what, as far as goal is concerned, see anything there that grabs you?
On the wanted,
Yeah.
he wants money.
Wants cash, gold, money.
He wants to find a love interest. That's kind of universal.
Yeah.
He wants a toilet made of gold.
It's not Saddam Hussein.
You guys are funny.
You see that one? He wants gravy.
Yeah.
Sorry, that one
He
made me laugh.
wants to rule Egypt.
That's
Wants to go skydiving. That's funny.
he wants to meet Johnny Cash.
Oh, that could be interesting.
Oh.
I don't know. What do you think?
The one I like best is he wants a camel named Rayla. I don't know why I like that one, but I think that's funny.
To have a cell phone.
Oh, he did look kind of young.
Hmm. To be TikTok famous.
He wants to be Mr. Gravy. Yeah, that's
Mm.
everybody.
Okay, so we got to choose what. How about? Looks like he wants to be king. Hmm. He wants to pass into the next world. Oh. How about wanted to reunite with his sister in the afterlife. So if you know like a little bit, and we'll do some. Oh, okay, Liliana, that was a little much. He wants an evil panda. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna share my screen again, and then we're gonna come back to. Okay. So the cool thing about the when we start reading about Egyptian history, ancient Egyptian history, and you know, the afterlife in particular, ancient Egyptians had a much different concept of the afterlife than I think most of us do now. But the pyramids were essentially gigantic tombs for the pharaohs and those close to them. And so, but in the afterlife, pharaohs would pack their tombs. They would spend a lot of times building these pyramids and packing these tombs with all of these things that they thought they could take with them after they passed away. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do king. Wanted to be king. But so now we need a problem. What is standing in the way of him being the king? So there's some obvious ones here. More than likely, he comes from a poor family, poor background. What else?
Saw some other problems. COVID-19
Yeah.
holding him back.
Yeah. Well, stand in line, Safir.
Brother, he's too poor.
Mm-hmm.
He's from a lower class.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he was banished from Egypt. Oh.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm really into this lesson. This is fun.
But he's been banished. Okay. So, he must find his way back to Egypt and take the throne. How about that? Okay, so so he has to work his way back into Egypt. Okay, so now what we'll do is, so we have the spine of our story here, and this is really what I wanted to So this is really what I'm after right here. So now, despite what happens, I at least know what my story is. So I know who my main character is. I know what he wants, and I know that that he's been banished. You know, he wants to be the king. He's been banished, so he must find his way back to from his country. So now we start doing this. So this is a program, like I said, Mrs. Digby introduced me to this. My class will be using this. And I think there's certain functions that you can use for free. But so let's see, what do we got here? All right, words, add words. So my name is Safir. And I am a stranger I am no longer All right. Okay, this is where I can use your help. My name is Safir and I am no longer. All right. What are we going to have him say next? Go ahead and type that in the chat. All right. You see anything coming out, Mr. Mullen? Looks okay. I'm not looking at the chat right now.
New. Oh, there it is. It's coming now. I'm no longer welcome. It's coming fast. I'm no longer allowed in the kingdom. No longer welcome to the royal throne.
No
longer allowed to see my family.
Okay. Okay, revenge is always a good motivation in a story. All right. So there are, as I'm doing this, so we have our somebody wanted but so. So now we're sort of starting to play with some ideas and do some things. But the big idea here, the big takeaway is we have the spine of our story, and it's done, it's ready to go. And then what time do I need to be finished, by the way? I've no idea. I'm like completely thrown off course. what time should I stop?
Normally writing starts at 9:20, but we're about 20 minutes off.
Okay, so take him to 9:45 and then break.
I'm good with that.
Does
Yeah.
that work? Okay, all right. So the big thing here is we have the spine of our story. So now I wanna do a little bit. This is sort of the big picture. But now when we're looking at a story, we have something called exposition. And then we have, and this is really the ordinary world. And then after the exposition, we have something called the inciting incident. And this is the event that sets the story in motion. And then we have a dramatic question. And then I'll explain what that is in just a moment. And even before the exposition, believe it or not, we also have a hook and a narrative story as well. So this is the spine of our story. And these are sort of the things that we need to pay attention to. And this is a lot too, by the way. It takes, I'm going to try to break it down as best I can. But what we want is, we want this. So my name is Saphir and I'm no longer allowed in the kingdom. But revenge will be mine. All right. So now we have this, well, why does this, he's not allowed in the kingdom, he's seeking revenge, like what is this all about? So now we need to sort of talk about, we need a little more something to continue grabbing the reader. So what's his story? What is his background story? What got him kicked out of the kingdom? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to post an assignment in Google Classroom, and with a very simple question: what got Saphir kicked out of the kingdom? So he is no longer allowed there, and we need a reason why. So before I start illustrating this comic and doing all this, I need the story. Like the illustration, that's the easy part. So I'm going to go ahead and post a quick assignment in Google Classroom. It'll be a pass-fail assignment. So either you do it or you don't. So you'll get full credit or no credit. And so 10 points. But tell me, why is Saphir no longer allowed in the kingdom? Okay, so why does he want revenge? So I'm going to go ahead and post that in Google Classroom right now, and then that'll give me an opportunity to look through those, and then come up with some ideas for where we're going to take that story. And then I'll post the somebody wanted but so in the assignment too, so that way we make sure that we're keeping it focused. So
Uh-oh, we may have lost Mr. Hartman. I think
Really?
he got, yeah. He is posting an assignment on Google Classroom. I'm going to go ahead and pause the chat because there are people who are just spamming. So spammers, you shut it down for us. All right. Excuse me. Hopefully he's able to, ooh, power went out momentarily, logging back in. Just long enough to, oh, a couple people. My power just went out. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Maybe we should look for that assignment in Google Classroom. Or maybe, let's see. I don't see it, but refresh. All right. All right, maybe he wasn't able to post it yet. Like I said, technical difficulties.
I don't see
Just be patient. All right. In the meantime, Mr. Mullen, did you want to go next with reading, or do you want me to go ahead and do math, or do you want to just take
It doesn't
math
matter to
at the
me,
end of the day?
whatever. Okay, we're going to read a story together called A Family Picture. This story is a little bit higher level as far as vocabulary, as far as content. It is a narrative. Mr. Hartman reviewed for us the three different kinds of writing, the three different kinds of literature or texts that we read in sixth grade and fifth grade, and that is expository, which is basically giving forth information. We read for information, we read for knowledge, for stuff that we need to know. And then we have persuasive, where we read a text or we write a text that's trying to persuade somebody, an audience, to a particular understanding or view on an issue. And then one that we read the most, especially in fifth and sixth grade, I think, is narrative. And that is, more than anything else, it is story. A synonym for narrative might be story. And so when we come to this kind of literature, this kind of text that we read, we want to make sure that we understand that we read it differently than if we were reading something that was persuasive, and we read it differently than if we're reading something that's expository, because its purpose is different. In narrative, there is more than just this one purpose, but it is to entertain, and it is to say something often about the world and where we live and about people, you and I. And so we're going to read this story. This is a story about a family and a young girl that's your age. Some of the stuff that we're going to pay attention to are the particular aspects of narrative: beginning, middle, end. Okay? We are going to do stop, think, and paraphrase. We've been doing this since the beginning, but I'm going to change it up a little bit this morning. We're going to do stop, think, and predict. The P is going to be changed out. Instead of paraphrase, where we put it in your own words, we're going to predict and make a prediction or a guess, an educated guess on what is going to happen next. We also will be focusing on using our vocabulary strategies at least 2 or 3 times through this reading. We're going to stop, I'm going to stop us, and we're going to look at a particular word which some of us might struggle with, and we're going to use our vocabulary strategies, which is reread, use the pictures to explain, substitute a word that makes sense, and if we can, use the word parts and look at the known parts and then try to make a connection, okay? So those are the 2 things we're going to look at. We're also going to look at a new strategy that Mr. Hartman introduced to us, and that's called Somebody Wanted But So. Okay, a family picture. When Allison looks at the world through a camera, she sees exciting possibilities. As we read this, we're going to stop and see if we can predict what Allison will do next. Okay, so read along with me. Almost overnight, Allison Williams started seeing the same old world in a whole new way. It began in Mr. Gibbs' photography class when she looked through a lens of a camera for the first time. Okay, whenever we begin a narrative, we always understand that the beginning is concerned with setting the setting, establishing the setting. And in the setting, we have to come to that place where we understand the very, very fundamentals of the story, which is who is the main character, what is their goal, and then also, so that we have some context, we need to understand where it is happening and when it is happening. Also in the setting, especially books that are more developed, stories that are more developed, we will establish a mood, how it feels, the atmosphere of the story, okay? So who and what goal, who and what, then also where, when, and what mood, okay? So here's the beginning. What parts of the setting can you already pick out? First one is the character, Allison Williams. She is the protagonist, the main character, okay? There's also a word in here that I want us to look at, and it's the lens. Lens. It began in Mr. Gibbs' photography class when she looked through a lens of a camera for a first time, okay? Lens. So what is that word? What does it mean? Well, there's several different things that we can do to figure out the meaning of that. But by reading the context, reading through, we see the lens of a camera. In other words, the camera itself, down here, has a part that's called the lens. Do you know what part that is? Yeah, that's right. It is the glass part right here through which you look through that pulls the picture into the camera. Okay? When Allison was holding a camera, she felt like a different person. She felt brave and bold. She was in charge of the camera. If a photograph was overexposed, it was because she made a mistake. If a photograph was great, it was because she made it happen. She was never sure how her pictures would come out. They were like snowflakes, no two alike. Allison thought that one of the best parts of being a photographer was spending time in the darkroom. First, she would develop the film and see what images she had captured. Next, she would choose an image and expose it on slick photographic paper. Finally, she would develop the photo in trays filled with chemicals and waters. So let's make a connection, okay? One of the things we do when we read, especially narrative, is we continuously make connections. And we make connections that are emotional, that are part of our experience. When we read expository, informational text, we often make connections, but it's not as emotional. It's not as experiential. It comes from a different place. But this is in narrative. When we make a connection, it often has to do with something we have experienced and something that has stirred our emotions. So when Allison was holding a camera, she felt, oh, see, that's an emotion. She felt like a different person. When have you done something where you have felt like a different person? You see, if there's been anything where you feel like, that has impacted your life, where you felt like something was different than it was before, that you found something that you do very, very well, and all of a sudden maybe you felt more confident and you felt excited, maybe you had a joy in your mind and in your heart. Well, then we can make a connection. Making a connection with what we read is one of the best things we can do, especially as we read narrative. Allison always felt like she was watching a little bit of magic as a black and white image slowly appeared in the tray. She soon felt at home in the darkroom, surrounded by funny red lights, dripping film, and the smell of chemicals. The last photography class came all too quickly. But even after it was over, Allison continued to think like a photographer. She once noticed that the twins had fallen asleep on the couch with their arms around each other. As she looked at them, she thought about how the scene would look through a camera lens. She couldn't get photography off her mind. From the moment Allison returned to Mr. Gibbs' camera, she began thinking of ways to earn money to buy her own camera. Then it came to her. She could start a babysitting business. All those afternoons looking after her brothers had given her plenty of experience. So, we're still at the very, very beginning of this story. And we know it's about Allison. We know now her goal. What is the goal? Her goal is to buy a camera. And she has a way of doing it, a strategy. But we're about to enter into the middle part of the story where there are struggles, where there is conflict. Let's see what happens. Allison sat down at her computer and got right to work, and on an ad for her new business. An hour later, she dragged her brothers with her to the local supermarket and hung up a sign. It read, Allison Williams, babysitter, available on weekends. Experience includes babysitting for 6-year-old twin brothers. Changed more than 2,000 diapers and lived to tell about it. Word spread fast. Soon Allison was spending every weekend babysitting. She spent so much time babysitting that she didn't get to see her friends very much. She missed them, but she figured that the harder she worked, the faster that she'd earn enough money for a camera. One Sunday, while her parents cooked dinner, Allison made an announcement. With the money I made babysitting last night, she said, I finally earned enough to buy a camera of my own. I'm going straight to the camera shop tomorrow after school. Her parents cheered. Later, they toasted her with spoonfuls of chocolate pudding, her favorite dessert. They didn't understand why she wanted to spend all of her hard-earned money on a camera, but they agreed it was hers to spend. Allison could hardly sleep that night. The next day, Allison counted the minutes until the last bell. The moment it rang, she was on her way to the camera store. She'd visited the store so often that she knew just where to go and exactly which camera she wanted to buy. She carefully counted out the money, handed it to the clerk. As Allison walked out of the store with her new camera, She glanced at her reflection in the store window. She thought it was strange that she looked the same as always when she felt so different inside. Okay, STP. We're going to stop, we're going to think, and we're going to make a prediction. Okay? Stop, think, make a prediction. What do you think is going to happen next? Okay, I want you to write it on your whiteboards. Just take a guess. This is an educated guess, right? We have some knowledge of the story. We're a good part into it. What will happen next? When you get it, hold up your board and let me see it, please. Now, whenever we make a prediction, you can start out with these words. I think that, right? Because you're not certain. It's a guess. It's an educated guess. You're thinking about it. You've pondered it, but it is something more, but it is not certain. That's what I want to say. Okay? So, hold up your boards. I'm looking for some answers. Okay, she will be taking pictures of her family and her friends. Vincent, that's a good prediction. That makes total sense from what we've learned already. Okay, she will take photos of her family and friends, maybe the kids she's babysitting. She realized that she bought the camera from the wrong store. That's interesting. Her new camera will help her create new business and she will make money. Good job, Kiara. Let's see, Michael, show me your answer. Michael Longmire. Her camera falls and when she gets home and it is broken. That'd be interesting too. I think her siblings will break her camera. Oh, that sounds like somebody who's had some experience. And then I'm looking at Aubrey. Can you hold it up a bit higher, Aubrey? There you go. Oh, now closer. I think that she will babysit more and get an even newer and better camera. Good. Okay. You see, by making these predictions, we become involved in the story and it helps us with our understanding. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Allison's parents noticed a change in her. For years, they had dragged her out of bed in the morning so she wouldn't be late for school. Now, Allison was often the first one awake in the house and sometimes even the first student at school. She liked getting to school early so she could have the dark room to herself. Every night, Allison carefully set her camera next to her bed so it would be the first thing she saw when she woke up. Now that she'd stopped babysitting, Allison finally had time to hang out with her friends again. She had fun taking crazy pictures of them. They liked having a photographer friend around. Once, while she even caught them in a quiet moment. Okay. And hold on 1 second. That Sunday night, Allison took her camera to the dinner table and put it on her lap. She looked around and saw the usual Williams family activity. Here it is, thought Allison, the photographer. This is my family. When no one was looking, she slipped away from the table. She hung over the balcony and looked through the camera lens. She watched as the breeze blew through the curtains in the window and the light outside began to fade. She watched one of the twins put smashed potatoes in his hair. She watched as her father helped her other brother cut up his meat. The moment felt right. This was her family. Allison pressed the shutter of her camera, then she quietly slipped back into her seat. She was so excited she could hardly finish her ice cream sundae.
Mr. Mullen, you're not screen sharing, so they can't see.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm having some problems. Yeah, it doesn't want to let me do it. In fact, it's minimized everything. Oh, let me try one more time. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Thank you. And what I'm going to do is this. Now, hold on one second, everybody. I'll start here. That Sunday night, Allison took her camera to the dinner table and put it on her lap. She looked around and saw the usual Williams family activity. Here it is, thought Allison, the photographer. This is my family. When no one was looking, she slipped away from the table. She hung over the balcony and looked through the camera lens. She watched as the breeze blew the curtains in the window and the light outside began to fade. She watched one of the twins put mashed potatoes in his hair. She watched as her father helped her brother cut up his meat. The moment felt right. This was her family. Allison pressed the shutter of her camera, then she quietly slipped back into her seat. She was so excited. She was so excited. She could hardly finish her ice cream. Okay, and we see the picture of them. Allison ran all the way to school Monday morning. She developed the film and held it up towards the light. She held her breath as she looked. There it was, her family on a Sunday night, just as she'd seen them through her lens. Allison breathed a sigh of relief. Then before she could change her mind, she developed the photo and mailed it in to the contest. The next few weeks were long ones for Allison. Classes seemed endless. Hanging out with her friends was fun, but even that time went by slowly. Finally, the day for the announcement of the winning photo arrived. Allison woke up early, bounded downstairs, hoping to be the first to see the newspaper, but her parents were already up. She found them staring at the front page of the paper. "Good morning," said Allison as she walked around the table to peek at the paper. "Allison, we are so proud of you," exclaimed her parents, hugging her. "Now we understand why you worked so hard to buy that camera. You have a real gift." Allison could hardly believe it. Her photo was on the front page of the newspaper for thousands of people to see. She wondered if she might still be dreaming. Then she grinned. She hoped Mr. Gibb had seen the morning paper too. That Sunday night, Allison's parents cooked her favorite dinner with chocolate pudding for dessert, of course. Then her mother suggested that Allison take another photo, family photo. "But for this picture," said her mother, "will you use your timer? You need to be in the photo for our family to be complete." Okay? So, I'm gonna come to, we're not gonna do this one, we're gonna do this one. We're gonna come to that place where we fill in and we answer this, because Mr. Hartman was absolutely right on target when in describing what narrative is about. He said the spine, but the summary of any story can be found when it's a narrative with somebody wanted but so. So Somebody this time. Who would that have been? Would have been Allison. What did Allison want? She wanted a camera. Allison wanted a camera to take pictures, but what is the main conflict? She didn't have enough money to buy it, but she did not have the funds to buy a camera, so she created a business of babysitting children so that she could purchase the camera. Okay? Now, maybe your somebody wanted but so might be different. Maybe one person would come up with a different summary than another, but that's because we all come from different places. We all read from our own experience. We all read from our own understanding. We all have our different connections. But narrative will always be able to fill out somebody wanted but so, and that is a good way to summarize. And Mrs. Digby, between the vocabulary and that's what I have planned for today.
All right, so there's no extended work for them.
No, not today.
Okay.
Tomorrow we'll be starting to do some more vocabulary. We will start on vocabulary again tomorrow.
All righty, do we want to take a break and then do math? Maybe like a 10-minute break, we'll go 10:30 and then start math?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Is that going to give you enough time, Mrs. Bragg?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So come back at 10:30.
All right, yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
10-minute break, so 10:30, come back and we will do math. Thank you very much. Oh, we're still recording. Thank have missed or a lesson that you may not have done as well on. But I do want to go ahead and review some of the math that we learned last week about exponents. And so if you would, please go ahead and get out your whiteboards, markers, or pencils and paper, whatever you have to write with and practice on. I'm going to flip over here and make some, show my whiteboard so you can see the problems we're going to work on. All right, starting off, let's see how much you remember from whole numbers. Let's go with the whole numbers. How about any number to the 0 power? Any number to the 0 power. Okay, you can text it to me. Nope, nope. Yes. Any number to the 0 power. Remember, yeah, half of you got, oh, there we go, more than half. More than half are getting it right now. Okay. Any number to the 0 power. And I'm going to share with you real quick, just 8 to the 2nd power. Before I even give you the answer, I'm going to explain why. 8 to the 2nd power is like saying 1 times 8 times 8, because 1 times anything is itself. So this is 64. 8 to the 1st power is 1 times 8, which is 8. 8 to the 0 power is just 1, and there is no number left. Therefore, the 0 power means 1. Okay, the 0 power means 1. So any number to the 0 power is always going to be 1. Don't forget, any number to the 0 power is always equal to 1. And several people who put 0, and that is incorrect. So let's go ahead and move on. How about 4 to the 4th power? Go. Yes, whole numbers first. 4 to the 4th power, go. Remember, you need to show your work. Show and share. Show and share your work. It's a good thing we're reviewing. Yes. First three people who text me, Jesse, Anya, Aaron, Isabel, you guys are all correct so far. Priscilla, you want to try again? Emily, try again. All righty, those of you who have forgotten, 4 to the 4th power means you have to multiply 4 by itself 4 times. And if you break this down, you have 4 times 4, which is 16. And you have another 4 times 4, which is another 16. And when you multiply 16 times 16, you're going to get a very large number. Thank you, Jaden Prado. That was an excellent description. There you go. Yes, yes, yes. There's another way, of course, if you look at it this way, 4 times 4 is 16, and bring down the next times 4, and 16 times 4 is 64, and you still have another times 4 left, which gives you a very large number. It's the same thing as 16 times 16, and it all equals 256. Now in algebra, just to let you know, this is getting us into pre-algebra. You may see a problem that looks similar to this, but it may say 4 to the 4th power equals some number or the letter n. And it just means what would n be? What would be the number that is the answer? And it's still going to be 256. All right, n just represents the word for number. So some number is 4 to the 4th power. All right, let's do, how about some decimals? We multiplied decimals last week as well. How about 0.6 to the 2nd power? 0.6 to the 2nd power. Go ahead, you have 0.6. Aha, thank you, Aubrey. That was fast. Angel, you forgot your decimal. Liliana, no. Drake, you forgot your decimal. Bethany, Isabella, Eliana, yes, yes, yes. Angie, yes. You always put a little question mark after it, but that's okay. 0.6 to the 2nd power means 0.6 or 6/10 times 0.6 again, which is 6/10 again. And if you have 6 times 6, that equals 36. But you have 2 digits behind decimals in your problem. You have a 10th here and a 10th here. Therefore, you need 2 digits behind your decimal in your answer, giving you 0.36. 0.36. All right. How about another decimal problem? Let's go with 1.2 to the 2nd power. 1.2 to the 2nd power. Yeah, Allison, that's a common mistake. That's a common mistake. So that's why we're practicing and that's why we're reviewing. Okay, 1.2. Aubrey, no. Isabella, yes. Darius, yes. Angel, you forgot a digit. Let's see. Mark, you might want to check your multiplication. All right. 1.2 to the 2nd power is the same thing as saying 1.2 times 1.2. And if you know 12 times 12, 12 times 12 is 144, but you have to realize that you have 2 digits behind a decimal in your problem. 1, 2. So you need 2 digits behind the decimal in your answer. 1, 2. Giving you 1.44 or 1 and 44 hundredths. Yes, for everyone else who got 1.44, you are all correct. We also had some fractions last week. And that was the day that Zoom was a little wonky. So if you have a fraction of 1/3 and you put that to the 3rd power, 1/3 to the 3rd power. Okay. The exponent means that you're going to multiply the base number times itself this many times. So if you write it out, 1/3 times 1/3 times 1/3. Yes, everyone who's texting me, I'm giving you another few seconds to go ahead and finish texting. Vincent, it should be a fraction answer. Very good. Vincent, again, you need a fraction answer. Vincent, stop retexting the same wrong answer. All right, 1 times 1 times 1 gives you a 1 on the top. Your numerators are all 1. So 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 3 is 9. And 9 times 3 is 27. So 1/27 is your final answer for this one. 1/27. All right, let's keep going. Another fraction. Let's do 4/9, and I put this in parentheses to keep the numbers together. 4/9 to the second power. 4/9 to the second power. And no, it cannot reduce. None of these are going to reduce today. Okay. Very good. I see lots of good answers in the chat. Thank you. Those of you who showed your work to me, excellent. 4/9 times 4/9. You have to write 4/9 2 times and multiply it twice in order to use that exponent appropriately. So 4 times 4, you got your numerators. 4 times 4 is 16, and 9 times 9 is 81. 16/81 does not reduce, so you leave it just like so. And again, on Khan Academy, it allows you to even leave improper fractions as improper just to get the hang of exponents down. How about 4/3 to the third power? 4/3 to the third power. 4/3 to the third power. Angel, no, try again. Angel, watch carefully. If you write 4/3 3 times, you have to multiply 3 digits on the top for your numerators. So 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is a very large number. And you have the denominator 3 times 3, and then that answer times 3 again. There you go. Now we're getting the hang of it. All right. 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 is 64. Very good. 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 3 is 27. So 64/27 can be your final answer for these exponential purposes. Okay. I will allow you to leave that as such. All right, I have a few more questions for you. I thought you had to simplify. And when we were talking about fractions, yes, you would simplify. However, yes, Aubrey, that would be the correct way to do it. Okay, I'm going to ask you some more questions now, and these are going to be a little more, let's just take it up a notch, just to see if you still understand the full idea of exponents. How about 365 to the 0 power? There you go, 365 to the 0 power. Yes, there you go. Now you remember. Priscilla, no. Everyone else who's texting me, yes, you are correct. Abel, no. Yes, the answer is 1 whole. Any number to the 0 power is always equal to 1. Yes, it's the rule. Any number, any base number, any number in front of a 0 power with a 0 exponent is always going to be 1. Okay, I'm going to write this a little bit differently and see if you get this. How about 34 to what power equals 1? So this number, what exponent would you put in here? Yes, to make this equal to 1. Very good. Oh, yes, all of you people who are putting in the answers in the chat, every single one of you have gotten it correct. Except for Jesse. Sorry, Jesse. Yes, n, in this case, n is 0, because that would mean 34 to the 0 power equals 1. All right, very good. Very, very good. All right, I'm going to try a different number here. Let's try, I'm going to give you a problem. Say 2 to what power equals 32? Ooh, how many times do you have to multiply 2 by itself to get the answer of 32? I'm going to switch around on you a little bit. You can start by multiplying by 2's and see how many times you have to write 2 to multiply by itself to get 32. Drake, the answer is not 16. It's not 2 times 16 equals 32. It's how many times do you multiply 2 times 2 times 2 to equal 32? Ah, yes, some of you guys are getting it correct. Okay. No, those of you who keep saying 16, that is incorrect. The n means how many times do you multiply 2 by itself to equal 32? So we'll start. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, we're going to keep going because that's not big enough. Times 2 again equals 8. All right, let's keep going. How many times do we have to multiply? Times 2 again is 16. Times 2 again is 32. Now, how many times do we write the number 2 in this whole big mess here? Okay, let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times you had to multiply the number 2. Oops, yeah, I did mean 32. Sorry about that. You had to multiply 2 5 times to get to 32. So in this case, the exponent would be 5. 2 to the 5th power equals 32. Ah, we're going backwards a little bit. I'm going to make you think real hard today since we're switching it around on you. All right, since we went backwards, let's continue a couple more of those just for kicks. How about, let's go, show me what 4 to the 3rd power looks like when you write it out. Okay, I don't even want the answer yet. I just want to know what 4 to the 3rd power looks like when you write it out. Yeah, yes, Aaron, thank you. Sebastian, that's not necessary. Thank you, Aubrey. Yes, thank you, Kira. Thank you, Darrell. Thank you, Jaden. Thank you, Jaslyn. Yes, yes, yes. Bella, no, it's not plus, it's multiply. You must multiply these numbers. Okay, yes, and thank you, Danielle. I am looking at the whiteboards as well. So thank you for writing it out on your whiteboard. Thank you, all of those holding up your whiteboards. What I was looking for when I say write it out, it means 4 times 4 times 4. Then your answer, now go ahead and give me the final answer. 4 times 4 times 4 equals what? So there's going to be 2 answers here. I asked you to write it out. You had to write 4 multiplied by itself 3 times. And yes, when you actually do the multiplication, you do get 64. Very good. So there are 2 answers for this. You multiply 4 times itself 3 times. And when you multiply that, it equals 64. How about the next problem I have here is, let's go with, I got a good one. 1 to the 8th power. What is 1 to the 8th power? Uh-oh, Rosie. Nope. What's 1 times 1? Drake, what's 1 times 1? times 1 times 1 times 1. No matter how many times you multiply 1, what's your answer going to be? Yes. Oh, Rayla, you're not adding, you're multiplying. 1 times 1 times 1. Even if you write it out 8 whole times, you're still only going to get 1. Because 1 times 1 is 1. No matter how many times you multiply it out. Thank you. Wow, Kindling and Liliana, you guys wrote it all out. I love it. All right. How about another backwards problem? How about, let's go 6 to what power equals 36? 6 to what power? How many times do you have to multiply 6 by itself to give you 36? There you go. Ooh, well done. So far, everyone in the chat has the correct answer. Aubrey, no. Try again. 6. Hayden, not quite. In other words, how many times do you have to multiply 6 times itself to get 36? Only twice. 1, 2, because 6 times 6 equals 36. So if you have 6 to the second power, you will get 36. So this number up here, this little n, represents the exponent that you're going to use to multiply 6 by itself. Boy, we're going to have, still looking for some more here. Aha. All right. More problems. Not problems. More math. More expressions that we're going to solve. How about 10 to what power is going to equal 1,000? 10 to what power? In other words, how many times do you have to multiply 10 by itself to equal 1,000? Dylan and Mark and Aaron, yes. Aubrey, yes. Aaron, Angel, Angie, yes. Whew. It is indeed. I like that answer. It is indeed. All right. If you're still a little bit stumped on this one, just ask yourself 10 and then start multiplying by tens. How much is 10 times 10? If you have a 10 twice, that will give you 100. That's not big enough, so let's go times 10 again. And 10 times, or 100 times 10 is indeed 1,000. So how many times did you have to multiply by tens? Once, twice, 3 times to get 1,000. Therefore, 10 to the third power equals 1,000. And it is not something you guess on. It is something that you should be solving on your whiteboards. Okay. Jaslyn, that's an excellent shortcut. Yes, I think that is a very smart shortcut. All right, I'm going to give you some true and false questions now. I have about a few minutes left. I'm going to give you some true and false questions now. And you have to tell me whether you believe these questions are true or false. But don't answer right away. Wait until you have a minute to think about it. So we're going to have some think time. 0 to the 6th power is equal to 1 to the 5th power. Is that true or false? 0 to the 6th power. Think about it. 0 to the 6th power. Oh boy, am I ever getting half and half of these answers. What is 0 to the 6th power? What is 0 times 0 times 0 times 0? 0. What is 1 times 1 times 1 times 1? Thank you. It is 1. Is 0 equal to 1? Nope, it is not. That answer is indeed false. Ooh, what if I switch it around on you? What if I said 6 to the 0 power is equal to 1 to the 6th power. Ooh, here it is. True or false? Ooh. Okay. All right. I'm happy with this answer. Yeah, that's right. What's any number to the 0 power? Any number to the 0 power. For pre-algebra sake, Bryce, answer once and that's enough. All right. Yes, it is 1. What is 1 times 1 times 1 times 1? Yes, it is 1. And this isn't equal, therefore the answer is true. Make you think. It is indeed, Angie, it is indeed. All right, how about another problem here? How about 9 to the 1st power? Is it equal to 1 to the 9th power? True or false? I think some of you guys are just writing answers before you think about it. Okay, let's see. Because if you think about it, 9 to the 1st power, how many times do you list the number 9? 1 time. So if I write the number 9, 1 time is just 9. What about 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is just plain old 1? Is that equal? No, it is not. Therefore, it is false. All right. How about this one? 7 to the 3rd power is equal to 7 times 3. True or false? I'm watching this answer very closely. So far you got it. So far, everyone's gotten the correct answer. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. Very good. All right. We learned this a week ago. Yes. And we are reviewing. This is called review before a test. That is absolutely false. Absolutely false. 7 to the 3rd power means you're actually multiplying 7 times 7 times 7, which is totally different than 7 times 3. 7 times 3, you could probably do in your head. That's 21. 7 times 7 times 7, that's going to be a very large number. Like 7 times 7 is 49, and 49 times 7 more. Oh, thank you, Bethany. That was fast. Is 343. That is very different than 7 times 3. All righty. Whew, my goodness. I think that is going to just about do it for me for today for practice. We're going to have a test on this tomorrow, and it's going to be on Edulastic. And I am going to make sure that you have to think about these answers. There's going to be some matching problems, like 3 to the 4th power. What does it look like? And you'll have to match your answers. 3 to the 4th power. I should store these all in my brain files. Oh, great. All right. I am going to go ahead and put one more con practice on. You know what? It's the same lesson that I actually did last Thursday. So if you have not gotten 100% on your Khan Academy from last week, I'm going to say go in and redo it. And if you need to rewatch the videos on practicing with exponents and whole numbers, decimals, and fractions, then go back and redo those. That's what I'm going to say to do today. Instead of give you another assignment, I'm going to say go back and practice again. Watch the videos if necessary, because we are going to have a test on it tomorrow. Okay? No, I'm not putting an additional Khan assignment. I'm just going to go say check your Khan Academy scores And if it's not 100%, do it again. You can redo it for a better score. And then you learn from your mistakes and you'll be ready for the test. All right. Are we good with all that, teachers? Questions? If you only missed one,
Sounds good.
as long as you know which one you missed. All right. Well, it is 11 o'clock. I am finished. If anybody has anything else.
Nope.
Otherwise, I think we'll probably head over to our homerooms.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right.